Hi, welcome to lesson 7 in our short series of 14 days of introducing you to satellite Earth observation. Now, in the last lesson, we looked at this Sentinel-1 workflow to look at the impact of coverage of the satellite data, to show the fact that satellites aren't collecting data constantly, but you have to wait until you accumulate data over time. And this pale blue block that aggregate images over time instructs Earth blocks how to combine all those overlapping pixels, so to determine what the final pixel value is going to be. But we use satellite Sentinel-1 radar data because it's radar data, and so it sees through cloud, so we got to look at the coverage much clearer. But let's have a look at a little bit more detail about when we've got cloud cover. So I've got here two blocks that I've put together already using Sentinel-2 multispectral data. You can load these up yourself by going to the input block, use this data set and find the Sentinel-2, load it up with the standard blocks, choose some dates to look at, and you'll see that the default blocks that it comes with includes a mask out clouds block. So the aggregate images block we know is going to compress all the pixels together into one value. It defaults to the median because that's a bit better for getting rid of the influence of any remaining cloud influence. And we've got our green layer, which is adding the map layer onto the map. So what does the mask out clouds block do? Well, this is the simplest default way to get rid of clouds. And what it's saying is that any of the scenes that we saw accumulating in the last lesson is that if any of those scenes have more than, in this case, 50% cloud cover, we're going to get rid of them. We're not going to use them at all. Now, the workflow on the right, I've set the maximum cloud cover percentage to only 10%. So it's going to be much stricter. So essentially what it's saying is that, well, it's only going to use images that have got less than 10% cloud cover in the actual image. I'm going to switch these off just now. So if we look to see what the impact of that is, this is 50%, so you can see there's still some clouds appearing in the images here. And what it's done is that there are some gaps, so you can see some tiles in here where the data has not been used, and that's because it must have more than half of the image is clouds, so more than 50%. If I switch that one on and look at the 10% though, this is much stricter. So it's thrown away many more of the scenes that have been collected. So you have much less coverage now as a consequence, but more of those scenes have got less cover of cloud. What does that mean practically? It means for Sentinel-2, depending on the cloudiness of the area that you're looking at, you might have to accumulate over a very large time. So, for example, let's go and look at a longer time period, and we'll just run this individual workflow instead of running both workflows together. So that's where if you click on the run at the bottom of a workflow, it only runs that workflow. If you click on the run workflow at the bottom of the workspace, it will run every workflow that's in the workspace. Now I just ran this for quite a long period of time, almost an entire year. It looked like it went very quickly here on the video because of course I'm pausing it because you don't want to watch a video that you have to wait for the processing to go through. So if you're wondering why it seems to go much faster for me on these videos than it might be for you in the platform, that's because I've paused it a little bit just to speed things up. But you'll see now is that on this image there's a lot less cloud cover, is that it's taking only images that have got a very small amount of cloud cover in it in the first instance, and then it's also taking the median, so any remaining cloud cover that might have an influence on averaging it is also being removed. Now, for those of you that need a more advanced cloud removal, there is an option. Instead of choosing the default, you can use the custom. But I'd be very careful with how you use this. It's enormously intensive in terms of the computing. So only use it for small areas and relatively small time periods. Now, in the next lesson, what we're going to do is see how we can use the aggregate images and time block to create a time series animation.